So be aware of that sitting position that you're in. Using your out breath to allow yourself to arrive. Noticing your glute muscles, your sit bones, backs of your thighs. With your out breath, you can settle and ease into that sitting position. Feel a little bit heavier. Notice your spine, the crown of your head. And imagining that there's a thread coming up from the crown of your head that keeps the centre of the spine being effortlessly tall. So with an out breath, allowing the body to feel heavy, with an in breath, allowing the body to feel light. Taking your awareness to your breath and allowing your breath to settle all the way down into the bottom of your lungs, softening your abdominal muscles. Allowing the breath to feel soft, to feel long, but not long in the sense of it being over exaggerated, like you're really trying to suck lots and lots of air in. It's that sort of long, slow, easy breathing. Allowing the abdomen to feel like it inflates when you breathe in and that it softens and becomes smaller as you breathe out. Bringing your hands onto the sides of your ribs, the lower part of your ribs, the bits where the ribs move apart from the sternum. And as you breathe in, take the breath to the bottom of the lungs so you feel your abdomen move. And then the next part of your in-breath, take it into the palms of your hands. And then breathe out, emptying as if you're emptying your abdomen, and then letting the ribs soften back down, like they move away slightly from the palms of your hands. So each in-breath, taking it down to the abdomen, then into the palms of the hands. Each out-breath, emptying from the abdomen, and then letting the ribs feel like they move away from the palms of your hands. As you breathe in, taking the breath into the abdomen, then the palms of the hands, and then into the higher part of the lungs. You feel a gentle little lift at the top of the chest as you breathe out, emptying as if you're emptying your abdomen, then underneath the palms of your hands, and then the top of the chest lowers back down ever so slightly. It's a very subtle movement at the top of the chest. Keeping that breathing rhythm going. So we've established our soft, easy, full yoga breath, 3-part breath. Keeping that rhythm going, allow your arms to dangle down by your side. And we'll coordinate some arm movement, so perhaps you will need to gently open your eyes to be able to see. Keeping that sense of the 3-part breath always becomes slightly more tricky once you've opened your eyes. You've got more stimulation of things with your eyes. So keeping the focus with your breath. The next time you breathe in, thinking bottom, middle, top, but also breathing in and taking the arms wide a little bit, quite low down. And as you breathe out, bottom, middle, top, floating the arms up, crossing at the wrists. Breathing in, arms come down wide. Breathing out, floating the arms up and crossing at the wrists. And keeping that going, not worrying at all about the speed that my arms are moving. I'm moving my arms simply to remind you what that action is. Focusing on your in and your out breath, that 3-part breath. Next time you breathe in and your arms go wide, breathing out, bringing the hands to the abdomen. Breathing in, taking the arms wide, they're still reasonably low. Breathing out, bringing the hands back to the abdomen. Breathing in, arms go wide, keeping this movement with the arms happening. Being aware of your 3-part breath. Arms move as slowly as you are breathing. No need to speed the breath up to have the arms moving quickly. We can slow the breath down and slow the movement of the arms. Out breath brings the hands to the abdomen. In breath takes the arms wide, a little bit higher up, nearer to shoulder height. The out breath brings the hands to the heart center. In breath, arms wide, somewhere near shoulder height. They're soft and floaty. Breathing out, hands come to the heart center. Again, noticing that 3-part breath, that when you're breathing in, you're breathing in bottom, middle, top. Breathing out, bottom, middle, top. In breath takes your arms wide. Out breath brings your hands to the heart center. Have an in breath here. Your next out breath, arms reach forwards, palms facing up. And your in breath draws your hands to your heart center. Out breath, reaching the arms forwards, palms facing up. And in breath, drawing the hands to the heart center. Out breath, reaching the arms away. Next in breath, draw the hands to the heart center. Have an out breath with your hands here. Your next in breath, the arms go up. If you want to gently look up, do. Think about lifting the upper back. And then breathing out, you curl forward. So your back, the top of your back curls forward. Your palms look down to the floor. Breathing in, lifting up, looking up. Arms are floaty. I'm just noticing the movement coming from the upper back. Really tricky now to encourage that 3-part breath. So even if we're not managing it in the 3 parts, we're being very aware of how the breath feels. Next in-breath, the arms come up. Out-breath, palms come together. Draw the hands all the way down to Anjali Mudra. Breathing in, arms wide, sweep them all the way up with your in-breath. Palms together, breathing out. Hands down in front of the heart center. One last one. Breathing in, arms sweep up on that in-breath. Breathing out, arms down to Anjali Mudra. Super. Next in-breath, take your arms wide. With an out-breath, leaning forwards and reaching. And in-breath, arms wide. So we're carrying on with that. Again, just be aware of your breath. 3-part breath is going to be disappearing and difficult because you're squishing forwards in your tummy. So breathing in, arms wide. Thinking about that length from the crown of the head. As you reach forwards with your arms, continue to have a little bit of a lift in your chest and your gaze, so that we try to keep the back in that upright position, although it's leaning forwards, it's coming forwards in a straight line rather than curving and looking down, taking your nose to the floor. Brilliant. So your next in-breath brings your arms wide. So depending on the chair that you're in, we'll bend the elbows just to make sure we don't clatter fingers on anything. With an out breath, turn your body, doesn't matter which way, a little bit of a turn, in breath back to centre, and out breath turning the other way, and in breath back to centre. Out breath, turn, explore, keeping your chin level with your chest bone, thinking about turning tummy button, chest and shoulders, but not being concerned by leading with the chin. Otherwise there's a chance you'll hurt into your neck. So out breath as you turn away from the midline, and in breath as you turn back. Breathing in, coming back to centre, taking your arms out at shoulder height. Lovely. Breathing out, a gentle side sway, windmilling the arms, breathing in back to centre, breathing out, a gentle windmilling of the arms, and breathing in, coming back to centre. One more to each side, noticing how that side bending feels. And breathing in, coming back to centre, breathing out, bringing your arms down. Have a roll of your shoulders. Then you start to notice how heavy the arms have been. Super. So let's take the arms out to the side again. One palm up, one palm down, and rolling the palms of the hands 360 degrees. Get some movement into the shoulders, notice how it feels. Then have both palms facing up, fingertips onto the shoulders, elbows out to the side. Start with dinky little circles to explore, and let that circling get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and see where it wants to go. Maybe the elbows meet in front, maybe they don't. Notice, have a try the other way round. Perhaps it feels different. Perhaps it sounds different. I get a click one way and no click the other way. Brilliant. And then bring your arms down and give them a roll, give them an ease. So let's bring arms up in front. Bend at the elbows. Bring the elbows together. Bring the palms of the hands together. So squeeze your elbows together to start with. And squeeze the palms of the hands together and lift. So when you lift, it's a little bit tempting to lift in this direction because that makes it easier and you go higher. So then it feels a bit more successful because we get the elbows higher. If we keep the forearms vertical and take the fingers up, much smaller lift, much stronger across the upper back. Squeeze your elbows together. dinky little lift. If the arms aren't wanting to lift much, don't fight with it. Squeeze the elbows together because that's where the strength is going to come from into your upper back. And then later, at some point, a few weeks' time, the elbows lift. Brilliant. Release. Have a roll of your shoulders. Shuffle yourself towards the front of your chair. Have your arms dangling down by your side. Rotate the palms outwards. Notice then that has a bit of a lift to the front of the chest. So let that happen. Watch out for your lower back. I'll just move my arms out of the way. This doesn't happen here because that's where you're taking the bend in your back. So draw your tummy button back so you feel safe here, and that the little lift is in your upper back as you rotate the arms away behind you. And lift them slightly and squeeze the backs of the hands towards one another. Brilliant. Something that really helps counter this incredible desire to go further backwards and bend in your lower back is to lift a knee. Also then we get some strength in our legs. Squeeze the backs of the hands together, lift them up slightly more behind you. Keep the arms where they are, pop your whichever leg you've lifted, lift the other one. Squeeze the backs of the hands together, lift slightly. Squeezing the backs of the hands together, breathing. Keep the arms where they are and pop your leg down, release the arms. Have a roll of your shoulders. Bring the arms back in front parallel. Shoulder height, bend at the elbows, elbows together, squeeze palms of the hands together and lift a little bit. So sometimes now the lift feels a little bit easier because we've released the other way round. Squeeze the elbows together, breathe. So once you start squeezing the elbows together, that's the point where it first interferes with your breath. And you've got to kind of let it catch up a little bit. And then you can work, keep squeezing the elbows together, lifting the fingers a little bit to the ceiling. Doesn't matter whether they lift, it's the effort of working towards that creates the strength. Release the arms, dangle, give them a wiggle. You're sitting towards the front of your chair again. Dangle the arms down, rotate the arms out and lift. Squeeze the backs of the hands together. And notice you can feel the chair. So try not to turn your arm from the shoulder in to take hold of the chair. Keep that external rotation. When you've found the chair, just turn at the wrist to hold on to the chair. So you've still got external rotation all the way up the length of the arm to the shoulder. And then draw your tummy button towards your spine. Think about your chest bone lifting up a little bit, so the action is as if you're moving your shoulder blades towards one another behind you. Some of you will want to walk your fingers up the back of the chair. Lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Know that it's absolutely fine to wiggle in ease. I think a wiggle is always good. You can roll your shoulders and find a bit more comfort and lift the arms to wherever you want to. Keep a bit of a hold of the tummy button coming towards the spine. Be super careful not to overarch into your back, particularly if you're having to come forwards because of where you are in relation to the chair. Brilliant. So work your upper back muscles. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and see how it would feel to, wherever your fingers are now, to release the hold on the back of the chair, but keep your arms where they are. Breathe, squeeze, keep your arms where they are, and take hold of the chair again. Brilliant. And then wander your fingers down and release and roll. So ignore me turning my chair all the time, it's just so that you can see differently. Arms out to shoulder height, cactus arms, have an in-breath, With an out breath, turn the palms so they're looking behind you, and breathe in, they come up. So with this one, it doesn't matter how far forward the hands go. We're just noticing the movement that we can get into the shoulder joint. We're working towards keeping our elbows up at shoulder height. So they're all the little stages that we're working to. Whenever your hands are facing forwards, you're breathing in. And as you turn and face behind you, you're breathing out and breathing in. Tummy button towards your spine. Marvellous. And breathe in. Oh, and let your hands go to your shoulders. Ding your little circles. Be soft, be gentle. Circle your arms around for ease. And back the other way. Lovely. And then bring your arms behind you so that you're just holding onto a wrist. That allows your shoulders to settle down away from your ears. Think about the crown of your head lifting. Use an out breath and gently lower one ear towards the shoulder on that side. And then imagine somebody has their hand on the cheek, the side of your face that's near the shoulder, and they're pushing the head back to centre. Breathe in, breathe out, lower to the other side. Let gravity do its thing. Notice you're going to have one side that's a bit tighter than the other. Imagine here you've got somebody's hand on the side of your face, and as you breathe in, they gently lift your head back. Super. Keeping your arms behind your back, your chest a little bit lifted, lowering your chin towards your chest. Let gravity do its thing, so your head's quite heavy. You can get a bit of lengthening down the back of the neck. Pop an imaginary orange under your chin and then roll it round to one shoulder. And roll it back to centre. There's not huge movements. The chin stays close into the body. So the whole time your gaze is down towards the floor. Roll back to centre, one more to each side. And as you go to each side, wherever it feels tight, just pause there for a moment. Maybe have a sighing out breath in a bit that feels tight, and then move on through. And then return back if it feels tight, pause there again. Sighing out breath and carry on moving round. When you've gone to each side again, bringing your head back to centre, lifting up with the gaze. So imagine the crown of the head lifting to the ceiling now and then moving away behind you. And then once you've got your nose up in the air, think about the nose lifting to the ceiling, and then let the nose track along the ceiling a little bit. Avoid nipping in the back of your neck. Reach that point where it feels okay to take your head back. You've got a lovely stretch down the front of the neck. Pausing there, take your lower lip over your top lip. Have a lovely smile. It could be a cheesy grin, it could be a gentle little smile, whatever you fancy. And then release the smile, release the lower lip. Let your nose lift to the ceiling and let it track along the ceiling until it meets the wall. And then let your nose track down the wall until you're gazing ahead. Lift the chest just a little bit and lower your chin to your chest again. Super, bring your gaze forwards. Then imagine your chin is on a shelf. So turning your head in one direction towards the shoulder, back to centre and round the other way. And back to centre. Super. And release your hands, have a roll into your shoulders. And we're going to bring the arms up. Palms facing forwards, arms are straight, arms are at shoulder height. So we attempt to keep the arms here. If they want to come down a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. It really doesn't matter, because the work that we're interested in is coming from the arms being straight and the fingernails moving towards you, the heel of the hand moving away. Okay? So it can be done here, it can be done here, it can be done here. If we do it here, we build some strength in our shoulders, because your arms are at their heaviest point with a lever. The other thing that happens is this. So let your shoulders soften down. Brilliant. So already there's work happening. Feeling it somewhere in the forearms. Keeping the arms as straight as you can, the heels of the hands moving forwards, the fingernails moving towards you, as if you're trying to get your fingernails to your nose. Keep the arms as straight as you can and turn your arms so that your fingers point towards one another. Arms as straight as you can keep them. Brilliant. Keep those arms as straight as you can keep them. Lovely. And keeping the arms as straight as you can, turning the hands so the fingers point to the ceiling. Slowly, slowly, slowly turning the arms. The arms are as straight as you can keep them till your fingers point out to the side. And then slowly, slowly, slowly turning so your fingers point to the floor. Keep driving the heel of the hand forwards. Fingernails coming towards you. When something wants to join in your face or your eyebrow centre, breathe and put the work into your forearms. Don't let it be wasted with that work in your eyebrow centre. You could waste it on a smile if you want. Brilliant. Oh, and then release. Give everything a shake. Make a tight fist. Notice your forearms. Stretch your fingers. Tight fist. Brilliant. Then a gentle fist and move your wrists. Notice the work in your forearms and back the other way. Brilliant. And release. So we're going to come up to standing and using the chair. I'm going to put the blue block there simply because it makes it a little bit easier for you to see my hands. So hands are resting on the seat of the chair. Feet in a place where you can, feet aren't that far away really, to be honest, where you feel like all your weight can come down through your legs and you're not kind of leaning. So if I'm too far away, I'm going to be leaning. So close enough that I've got my hands positioned here, I can bend my knees, I can draw my tummy button to my spine so I don't feel like I'm hurting into my back. Then from here, have a little bit of a lift of the chest and the gaze. So we know that the back feels quite tall, feels quite upright. It's like you're sticking your little tail out, but be careful not to over-exaggerate it and hurt into your lower back. So draw your tummy button to your spine. So from here, we've got lightness in the hands. We're going to lift the heel of one hand, lower it down, lift the heel of the other hand, lower it down. So because we've not got any weight down into the hands, we explore this movement. It depends how tight the palms of your hands are and how much the heel of the hand is going to move away from the chair. Trying not to lift up onto your fingertips. Keep the whole of the length of your fingers and the ball of the hand onto the chair. So it might be a tiny lift. So we walk both of them so that we get to feel what it's like with each hand. Then we might decide to stay walking alternate hands to get that flexibility and that movement. We might decide to lift both and hold. Either option is fine. Your wrist, your hands might prefer a dynamic movement where you keep moving, or you could come to holding. Check in with where your thumb is. Don't have a chicken kind of claw thumb with it stuck behind you, it's resting. Keep the weight in the fingers and the ball of the hand. Then, if everything feels okay here, start to bring some weight forwards. So you're working towards your shoulders being over your hands. That isn't where you have to get to, it's a towards, and then take the weight back, and then bring it forwards again. So you work again dynamically, bringing weight down through the hands, and then moving away again. At any point, you gently lower the hands down. You might come up to standing and give your hands a shake and wiggle about. It depends what you would quite like to do. So we can walk the hands, we can lift and hold. We can lift and hold and bring weight forwards. If you're lifting and holding and bringing weight forward, stay here. Count your in and out breaths. Work towards holding this for 4. It might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3. Work towards 4. Push your hands into the chair. Lift out of your hands. And then lower the heels of your hands lightly back down onto the chair. So the skin is in contact with the chair, but you feel like your skeleton is just a little bit lifted at the heels of each hand. Brilliant. I need to step my feet slightly closer together. They've gone a bit wide. So keeping your hands on the chair, checking that your feet feel like you could take one foot from the floor and still balance. You're going to bring your right knee into your chest. Move the heel away like you're unravelling it, lengthening away behind you. Make sure the back of your pelvis feels level, like you haven't tilted the pelvis up. Imaginary string on the back of the knee, the back of the thigh, lifting you. Pushing your right hand into the chair, floating your left arm up next to your left ear, reaching ahead of you. Breathing, gazing down at the seat of the chair, thinking about the back of your neck feeling long. Finding that place where you're using your breath to establish effort, but not tension. So softening the tight bit to know that you can hold it effortlessly there without that tightness. Brilliant. Bring your hand down, draw your knee into your chest, and then pop your foot to the floor. Ease into your wrists in any fashion that you want to. You might walk the heels of your hands up and down to establish that lightness again. So your skin onesie is touching the chair, your skeleton's got the lightness at the heels of the hands. Draw your left knee into your chest, take the leg away behind you like you're leading with the heel, keeping the back of the pelvis level. Lovely. Imagine a thread from the back of the knee, the back of the thigh, floating that leg up. Push your left hand into the chair, float your right arm up next to your right ear. Breathing. Notice tension creeps in. Use the breath to soften that tension. There's always a load of effort going on. Bring the hand down. Bring the knee down, knee into the chest, sorry. Knee down. I'm talking as if you're in cat. And then come up to standing so you can ease your wrist. So can I just talk you through a couple of things when your wrists are not feeling great? We can create something that adds a little bit of a wedge. So if I just grab a book, so small books, because this is just a little bit too thick. Oh God, that was noisy, sorry. So you can have the books and put the heel of the hand just on the edge. So it's going to change the angle of the wrist, if that makes sense. So if this is the chair and you've got something to put your wrist on, it stops the angle of the wrist being at such strong right angle, okay? Because your hand doesn't, can you see my hand doesn't go to an absolute right angle. As soon as I take myself to that position where my hand's on the chair, it forces my wrist into a right angle. And if your wrist isn't willing to do that, and for a whole load of reasons, your wrist may just not want to at all. So if you've got something underneath the heel of the hand, it changes the angle. Okay? This can be as high as you want it to be. It's absolutely fine to do that. The other thing to consider is how much weight you bring down through your hands. So this is purely here just so you can see my hands on the colour of this chair. But if I've got my legs a little bit too far away, I'm going to be tempted to bring lots of weight down through my arms. If I've got my feet in a little bit, I can still do this movement and I can use my legs more than my hand, because actually I could be here. This is a stabiliser as opposed to a load bearing. I can't lift my arm up now at all, but if I go back a little bit, I can. So I need it for balance, but I don't have to use it for load bearing. So come back to that balance, just have a play one side and the other. Find something that helps your wrist. If you want a little bit of support for the heel of the hand, and feel what that's like. And then notice that you can carry most of your weight down through your leg. So the arm, the hand that's on the chair can be a stabiliser, a balance assister rather than a load bearing. Super strengthening for your legs. So don't worry about it feeling like this is the weaklings version, because it absolutely isn't. It's just different. It's a different place to put the work. We can take the work down through the legs. We can give the wrists a break, not a literal break. So noticing what that feels like, and that you can make choices, that there are times in that practice where you can bring loads of weight down through the wrist and you think, right, I'm going to have a couple of breaths here and I'm going to power into my wrist and make it feel stronger. And that might be fine for your wrist, but if what that does is feel like it strains it too much, then a little book, a little bit of a lift, a little bit more weight down through the leg so that this arm is just there to stop you falling over. Brilliant. So once you've had a play about with that, Let's come back to, actually we're staying standing, don't come back to your chair, we're staying standing. I'm going to turn my chair so that I'm side on, simply so you can see. You absolutely can be here with both hands. You can be at the side using one hand. You can be far enough away from the chair that you're not using the chair. All of those are options. So pour the weight down into your left leg, into your left foot, come up onto the ball of the right foot. Check that you don't lock the standing knee. It's really tempting to lock it back. Soften it slightly. Super. So keep pouring the weight down into that leg and then see how it feels to be on the ball of your right foot, all the weight coming down through the left leg, and to bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. If you slow the breath slightly, a little bit of that bottom, middle, top, you're not going to get a big movement into your abdomen because all the muscles here are working to keep you standing. So it's not going to be as strong a sensation into your abdomen, but you can take the breath to the bottom, to the middle, to the top, and still and ease, let your shoulders settle. Find something to gaze at, a pattern, a mark, something that's directly ahead of you, something that's not me on the screen, because whenever I move and you notice that movement, that might encourage you to wobble. Then slowly come up from the ball of that foot to the tips of the toes. And go back to resting on the ball of the foot and close your eyes. Settle yourself here. Eyes can stay closed. Be kind to yourself and open your eyes whenever they need to open. So maybe with the eyes closed, you then notice what it feels like to gently lift the ball of the right foot and find the very tips of the toes. Take the ball of the foot down to the floor again, gently opening your eyes. Turn your right knee out to the right and place the sole of your right foot on top of your left. Careful not to lock your left knee. Your eyes are open. Next in-breath, see how it feels to slowly take the arms up. Keep that gaze on your focal spot. And then you can take the arms apart a little bit. Breathe. Bring the hands together, gazing at that focal spot. Maybe the tip of the tongue and the roof of the mouth, just a bit higher up from where the teeth, the top of the teeth are. Easing the hands back down. Always useful at this point to release the hold on your mudra, because you might want the chair, and uncross your legs. Have a little bit of ease. You might have a bit of a swish of your tail feathers and back. So the starting point is mountain pose. Pull the weight down into your right leg, into your right foot. Find the ball of your left foot. Careful not to lock your standing knee, your right knee. Have it a little bit soft. Super. Relax the arms. Know that the chair is close by and that the arm can hang just over the chair if you want it to, so that you know that it's here. Sometimes that's all the mind needs, is the certainty of the chair. Doesn't necessarily need to hold on to it. So with your eyes open and the weight coming down to your left leg into your left foot, lift the ball of the left foot and find the toes. So we notice how this is with our eyes open. Continue to use that soft 3-part easy breathing, and then bring the ball of the foot down. A bit more of a stabilizer, closing your eyes. Know that it's absolutely fine to open them whenever you want to. With your eyes closed, if everything feels okay, ease the ball of the foot from the floor, find the tips of the left toes, and notice. And lowering the ball of the left foot back down. So we've still got all the weight in our right leg. We're on the ball of the left foot, gently opening the eyes, finding that gaze point somewhere ahead of you. Turn the left knee out to the left so you can put the left foot on top of the right foot. Soften the right knee, it has a tendency to lock back at that point. An option is to bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. So at this point, this can help with balance, a gentle pushing of the palms of the hands together. It's a balancing mudra, a gesture. Mudras are a gesture. You could put the tip of your tongue into the top of your mouth, a little bit above where the tops of your teeth are. Gaze at something, breathing, and maybe seeing how it feels to take the arms up and to ease the arms apart. And bringing the palms back together, and then lowering the hands down. Often quite a good idea just to release the arms ready for when you release the legs, because that makes us wobble a bit more. You might step wider, hands to your knees, and have a little swish of your tail feathers. Super. So coming back to your mountain pose, we're going to pour the weight into the left foot, into the left leg. We're going to come up onto the ball of the right foot. Soften the left knee. We're going to turn the knee out to the side slightly. So just for a moment, close your eyes and be aware of your breath. Gently opening your eyes. So we can have our first option of putting the foot on top of the foot and being here. So the lovely benefit about balancing postures is finding that stillness. As soon as we start to connect in with our ego and our desire to have a go at something and wobble about, that lovely stillness disappears. But of course it's quite nice to have a try, isn't it? So that's that weird fine line between why we're doing what we're doing and whether it gives us the benefit we're after. So the stage from here that you may want to play about with is lifting then onto the tips of the toes to find your stillness here, and bringing the arch of the foot to rest onto your calf muscle. So you've got this lovely shape of the calf muscle that fits perfectly with the arch of the foot. Please don't put it onto the side of your knee because your knee joint doesn't want to go in that direction. Onto the calf muscle. Lovely. And then noticing, can we find that stillness to be here? Do we want to know that we've got a little bit of connection with the chair? Absolutely fine if we do. Maybe the hands come to Anjali Mudra. Find that gaze point. Maybe the tip of the tongue in the roof of the mouth. Noticing where other bits of tension are creeping in, the jaw, the shoulders. And perhaps it feels okay to take the arms up. As soon as something moves, it does interfere with the balance. Just noticing what your body wants to do. Once you get your hands back to Anjali Mudra, I would let go of the mudra to be able to move your leg, because that does make us wobble even more. And then you might need a gentle little swish of your tail feathers. But when you're easing, you might want to do a little bit of cat. It's incredibly strong in the thigh, standing on one leg, wonderfully strengthening. So we've got the other side to experiment with. So pouring the weight into the right leg, into the right foot, finding the ball of the left foot. So this is a great place to stay. We can also turn the left knee out to the side a little bit and stay on the ball of the foot. And then this is a lovely place to just notice that when you close your eyes, you can really find stillness. That stillness is the bit that helps us in our balancing postures. Few of those soft, easy 3-part breaths. Then maybe gently opening the eyes. So absolutely fine that the foot rests on one foot. This might feel the right place to be. You could see what it feels like to come up onto the tips of the toes. You might stay here. You might bring the arch of the foot to rest on the calf muscle. You might be resting a hand on the chair. You might bring the hands to Anjali Mudra, finding that gaze spot somewhere ahead of you. One side's always going to be different to the other, so maybe it needs the foot to be in a different place. Be it the right place for you, so that you can find that lovely settling stillness in your balance. If you want to take your arms up, do. If you want to move them apart, do. Super. So let go of your mudra when you want to unravel your legs. Step a little bit wide, slide your hands to your knees, swish your tail feathers, and then have a little bit of a cat move. It's going to soften into those muscles around your glutes and the tops of your thighs that have worked hard. You stick your little tail up, lift your chest, look forwards, tuck your little tail and look down. And when you look up, breathing in And when you look down, breathing out. Fantastic. Next in-breath, you're looking up and then come back to standing and ease yourself back into your comfy sitting position. Take the bottom all the way back into your chair. Maybe you have a book that you put your feet on, a block. Settling yourself heavily into the chair so the backs of your thighs rest, your glute muscles, your sit bones. With an in-breath, taking the arms wide. With an out-breath, a little bit of a lean forwards and a scoot forwards with the arms. In-breath, arms wide. One more of those. Scooping forwards a little bit. In-breath, arms wide. Bend at the elbows for cactus. Breathe out. Have a gentle turn. Breathe in, back to centre. Breathe out, gentle turn to the other side. Breathe in, back to centre. One more to each side. Out breath turns the body. In breath back to the midline. And when you've done both sides, back to centre. Take the arms out at shoulder height. Breathing out gently. Having a side bend one way. Breathing in, arms back to shoulder height. Breathing out, side bending the other way. Breathing in, back to centre. So we're going to breathe out and bring one arm to rest on the legs and take the other one up and away behind you. Reach the fingers up to the ceiling. Push your elbow into your thigh. And then with your next in-breath, just easing yourself gently back so you can have your arms at shoulder height. And we'll go the other way. So breathing out, you're turning, one arm's reaching up, one arm's coming down onto the legs. If you want to turn and look up, then do. It might be that your neck isn't in the mood for that. You've got an elbow into the thigh, you've got an arm reaching up a little bit to the ceiling. Brilliant. Don't hold your breath, keep breathing. Then with your next in-breath, easing those arms back, bringing your arms down, having a little roll of your shoulders. Super. So breathing in, taking your arms a little bit wider than you are, but quite low down. Breathing out, crossing at the wrist above your head. Breathing in, arms low and down. Breathing out, crossing at the wrist. Breathing in a little bit higher up with the arms. Breathing out, hands to the tummy. Breathing in, arms are wide. Breathing out, hands to the tummy. Breathing in, arms at shoulder height. Breathing out, hands to the heart center. Breathing in, arms at shoulder height. Breathing out, hands to the heart center. Breathing in, arms up, have a look up. And breathing out, just curling the upper back forward slightly. Breathing in, arms up. Breathing out, curling the upper back forward slightly. Breathing in, arms up, bring the palms of the hands together, breathing out. Breathing in, scoop your arms wide and all the way up, breathing out, palms of the hands together and coming down. Breathing in, arms wide and all the way up, palms of the hands together. Breathing out, bringing the hands down to the heart center, closing your eyes. Allow your breath to settle, taking the breath to the bottom of the lungs, the mid part, the top. Breathing out, bottom, middle, top. Breathing in, bottom, middle, top. After your next out breath, gently opening your eyes. Namaste everybody, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining in. See you soon.